who's a zero.
Oh, here we go.
Your boy Doc Rivers. I've resigned from the Doc Rivers fan. Yeah, they've quit. Dude, Steiny, they lost at home to Memphis, and the Memphis players were laughing last night. Like, they were looking at each other. They're not playing defense. Milwaukee's in trouble. They sold their soul for Dame. Nothing against Dame. You should have kept Holiday. And let me tell you who's a zero right now in the league.
Oh.
Brook Lopez. He's doing nothing. Steiny just standing in the corner doing nothing. Milwaukee is finito.
I just think it's so funny. And I'm sorry. And I'm just going to put it A1 homerism. What are the Bucks in the standings in the Eastern Conference?
I think like second.
Second. They're second in the Eastern Conference. They're finito.
Not because of Doc Rivers.
But the Warriors sitting in the 10th spot.
We ain't talking about the Warriors.
Win 2 play-in games. They still have big-time action. But we're talking about a title. What you explain that one to me. We're talking about a title. How can the Bucks be finito, but the Warriors have action?
Something ain't right. Doc came out and said they're not professional on the road. What does that mean? Guys going to strip clubs? What does that mean, Doc? And then they reward you with a home loss, no Dame, to Memphis. Something's going on.
If you called every NBA player who went to strip clubs unprofessional, you'd be calling 3/4 of the league unprofessional. I'm going to say something here.
You think
and I'm not.
So?
It is not. Listen, I don't do it. It's not my cup of tea. Simply going to a strip club is not unprofessional.
Well, I meant staying out late.
I'm just okay. Now that's a different.
I don't like the strip
ballgame.
clubs. Never have.
Mike's in Oakland. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man?
Hey, you guys. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Hey.
This is my issue. Why is it that when a guy is hurt and the team is rolling, he doesn't look at it like this? You know what? This team is rolling right now. Let me come off the bench and take my spot back when I can get in here and make it right. I'm just ashamed to see that everybody's got such an ego and they're so self-centered and selfish that they can't think like that, man. I mean, the ultimate goal is to win. It's not like he's never going to play. He's going to play because he's good enough. He will play. He's just not starting.
Well, to be fair,
this makes no sense to me.
Yeah, Kuminga hasn't. If this happens, Kuminga hasn't said he's unhappy with it. So
right,
yeah, but I mean, deep down, we know he's pissed off.
I mean,
it's how you handle it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, just keep the ego down. The team is what you're rooting for. So
right.
Let's keep it that. Let's just keep it 100. That way. It's about winning.
No, it's good. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call. No, Guru's right. I mean, we don't know. And clearly...
But we know. You know what I mean? But there's a difference where you hold on to it, Steiny. That's all.
So Steve Kerr came on with the morning show, and he made it clear that the Warriors did not practice yesterday. So he didn't see Kuminga, didn't talk to Kuminga. So now he was asked today whether Kuminga's going to start or not. I think he knows Kuminga's coming off the bench. But I don't think he's talked to Kuminga yet. He's probably talking to him in the next hour at shoot-around, or he's already spoken to him since he's gotten to the arena. But Kerr clearly didn't want to say, oh, no, Jonathan's going to come off the bench right now because we're rolling. That's why he kind of hedged and said, you know, in the past, in general, if we're rolling, I don't like to make a lot of changes. And so that leads you to believe that Jonathan Kuminga is coming off the bench. You know, it's funny. I think, not that I want to redo yesterday's show, but to me, you hit there's two big parts to this as far as I'm concerned. One is by bringing Kuminga off the bench, you can start Trace Jackson-Davis. Okay? But there's another part to me that's as equally important, and that is, to me, there's a realization that Kuminga and Wiggins can't, I mean, when I say can't play together, I don't mean they can't be on the same team together, but when Kuminga is on the floor at the same time as Wiggins,
they cancel each other out.
There's just better lineups to use. I said this all day yesterday. You want to start Kuminga and Wiggins, then you cannot expect Andrew Wiggins to be aggressive.
Wow, man.
How can the fourth option on a team be aggressive? He can't be.
And they've married that idea, Steiny. Right now, they're like, they feel that 100%.
Right.
And they got to break it up.
Right.
And unfortunately, Kuminga got... Now, if Wiggins... Well, again... again, Steiny, for the people calling saying maybe why didn't it happen with Wiggins, they chose to start a small guy instead of TJD at the 5. So Wiggins came back and got his spot back.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. And obviously, I don't think there's anybody out there that wouldn't acknowledge that Wiggins has more freedom when Kuminga's not there. The space on the floor is better, and there's not another player on the floor who's really looking for shots. And Kuminga really looks for his shots, and when he's on the floor, you have to try to get the ball to him because that's what he does. That's where he's at his best.
Go ahead.
That's it.
Yeah, I did you guys the show a disservice. I had some things going on the other night that they played Dallas after, but I don't know if you guys caught Chris Paul after. He was talking, I believe it was Fitz and Kalina, or it might have been Bonte and the guys, and he talked about what he does to Andrew Wiggins, what their conversation is before the game starts. And he is just like, man, dude, just be aggressive.
Yeah,
and it is something
so
we know, but Steiny, it was just symbolic in the sense that we don't even have a jersey, you, Evan, Spadoni, and I, but we all can see, put on her gladiator for Wiggins, but when he's dialed in, Chris Paul says we're a different team. So just think about that. We got a turbo button.
How can he be
but it doesn't work half of the season.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If Andrew Wiggins is on the floor with Steph Curry, 25 points a game, Klay Thompson, shot hunter, Jonathan Kuminga, scorer, how can he be dialed in scoring the basketball? How? It's simple. He can't be. So to me, the way I almost look at it is the way Dallas plays with Kyrie and Doncic, but for a different reason. Like, they want to keep one of those guys on the floor at all times.
Understand that.
So Doncic starts and Kyrie starts, and then Kyrie comes out 6 minutes into the game, and then Doncic finishes the first quarter, and then he goes and sits out, and Kyrie comes in. But what I'm getting at is, I think the Warriors, I don't think there's going to be a lot of times, it's clear Steve Kerr does not want to go to Wiggins and Kuminga in the same lineup as much as he had earlier in the year, because he thinks he thinks there's some diminishing returns.
And maybe that's why, I said, they're playing blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's why they're hot, Steiny. Maybe that's why they're hot.
Maybe. I mean,
if I'm Wiggins, I don't got to worry about JK having his hand up in the post, having the paint packed when I'm trying to wiggle jiggle.
Let's go to Gary in Daly City. What's up, Gary? How you doing, man?
Hey, you guys. Been following the boys since the 60s. I got no problem with it. That way he'll stay. Like you guys said, there's more flow to the game. The key's open. Wiggins is going to guard the best player on defense, where Kuminga's going to get in foul trouble right away. He can come off the bench. He can work with Chris Paul, and he can have more open court on his end. But it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes the game. So we'll see about that. But also, their problem all year, no one ever talks about it over the years, is Steph Curry's turnovers. His careless handling of the basketball, where it's just giveaways. They're not backdoor cuts, not misreads. They're just, you see it coming. That's why in their heyday, Iguodala, Livingston had the ball. Settled everything down where him and Thompson ran the baseline between David West's screens. But no one says it in the media anywhere. I mean, they cut down their turnovers, they win more games, but they're just careless. They're giveaways. And you see it every time, especially when he goes down the left side of the court.
Appreciate the call.
Can't argue there.
It's been a theme.
Yeah.
He's got to stop.
I don't think he's going to. In fact, I see more turnovers. Like, I don't even know if they're careless anymore. I just think that he's...
And they kind of come when they send the doubles down. He's like,
By the way, I'm surprised, Steiny.
Why?
I mean, you've been coming on Curry's road a little bit. You gave him 25 points a game?
Oh, man. I was going to stop 27.
Who cares?
No, he's been at 23 since the All-Star break.
Who cares? 23, 25, 27. It's not about...
Give me, Evan, don't shortchange him. Give him the whole season.
Well, here,
Do you want to give everyone else the whole season?
Wow.
Well, I don't even want to bring up some of the stuff I brought up yesterday with you, Evan. You were more rational about it.
Oh.
Yeah. Guru can't even handle this question.
Which one?
Or the topic on Steph.
The one I asked you?
Which one?
Exactly.
Go win. Give it to me.
Since the All-Star break, Steph's shooting 40% from the field and 35 from three.
Well, 39.9%.
Yeah.
He would tell you.
Right.
But they talked to Kerr this morning about it. Like Kerr said, I've never had to have to talk with him.
Let me ask you a question. And this is what I asked Evan.
Yeah.
Let's say he finishes the year kind of like this. The next 7 games of the regular season.
I don't think they can beat the Lakers.
I don't care about that. They can't. Okay. But what I'm saying is, do you go into next year just thinking, oh, his numbers will be back? If Steph Curry has half of a season
I think
where he shoots 40% from the field, 35, I get it, you can't do anything, but doesn't that make things more real about where this team is? If you're telling me that since early February till the end of the season, that Steph never really got it going and his numbers took a dramatic hit for the second half of the season, wouldn't you be a little worried about going into next year thinking you're going to get the player that you had at the first part of the season?
Now, I love the question. And
then how far can a team go if this is who Steph is?
Well, this is, okay, I'll start. I'll just say this. I would have one of the realest conversations ever in the world with my super duper star that's due $55 million, I believe, next year and say, is it imperative that you get more help? We're not passing the buck or putting the onus on anybody else, Donnie.
Well, of course.
But was this second half of the year and you being kind of subpar to your standards, how much of that was due to
I can just tell you
was around you and what wasn't around you?
I can just tell you how 99% of players would answer that, and it's on me.
Yeah.
It's on me. Like any self-respecting player would say, Steiny, you had a terrible year. Yeah, well, Guru really was in bad spots all year, and Evan didn't put me in some good spots. No, you're going to say, I need to be better. I didn't have a good year.
And do you think, because I know you're going to cite his age, but do you think he can be better? I think he can.
I don't. How? Who gets better at 36 to 37?
Well, you play less games.
Yeah. Well,
or less minutes in those games.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that way. But no, using him like they're using him now, no, he's not going to get better over the next 2 years. That's the thing. You got to fix. And
you're saying he's playing too much. He's tired.
You don't think he is?
No, I'm just.
I think he's tired.
Yeah.
I think he's tired. And we've seen him tired before, and it doesn't mean like he has peaks and valleys. He's been tired before in his career, and he's bounced back, and he's put together big, big stretches. And there's obviously, I wouldn't bet against him doing it from this point on. I'm just saying.
From tonight, you mean?
We got we've now had a little bit of an extended stretch with Steph not playing well.
All right, and that's my nightmare, Steiny. And I'm causing no noise if this doesn't revert back. If you're telling me the play-in game is going to be kind of he's got a man style. He's got to be Superman if they're going to shock the world and get in.
Right. I mean, again,
and that's why I would do what you asked me earlier and the fans about giving them some rest. And maybe the rest don't help, but at least you know you try. The phone was on 100. You know, rest, you charged it.
And this is what I figured out yesterday. The rest helps. To me, I've watched the Warriors for the last 15 years with Steph Curry, and there has never been a bigger, more obvious correlation between this team when they have to play hard, what happens in the aftermath, to when they manage minutes well and what happens in the aftermath. You want to know the big thing 2 years ago?
Sure.
And I told this to Evan, and
I know where you're going. I swear I do.
Go ahead, tell me.
The year before, he was able. Their season was over early. They lost in the play-in, and he got rest, and he was hurt that season. He missed last week or last 10 days before the playoffs in 2022. Last month.
Right, but that's not the only thing that happened. And this is where when people say, but Steiny, they won it 2 years ago. There were significant differences 2 years ago. And this is the one thing that hit me over the head yesterday, and I brought it up to Evan. Not that I want to do it again, but this has got to sink in for people. When they won it 2 years ago, look at the big three. Steph missed the last month of the season. The last month, He came into the playoffs fresh.
Clay started in January.
And Draymond missed 2 months. He missed games in February and March of that year. So their three most important players all came into the postseason 2 years ago, 2 years younger, 2 years ago, as fresh as they could possibly be for the postseason. This year, they're 2 years older. Steph looks like he's fatigued. Clay's been okay, I guess, but I'll just leave it there. But who's been playing well? Draymond, who's missed 25 games. So that to me is
I hear that.
I don't know if
feel
it's
that.
what's it called? A catch-22 or just something you're going to have to figure out. You cannot continue to play these guys big minutes, intense games, because they're going to wear down, I think.
Well, you know what? Hearing you put it that way and just, I can't say that you're wrong. Steiny, it's imperative then, if they beat Houston tonight, then I don't know if it's worth getting the 9th seed and taxing Curry.
I don't know either.
You got that. That's where we start. You got to give the chef some rest. You just do. And you might still lose that playing game. Hopefully you don't. But Steiny, if what you're saying, you can't defy logic, you got to give them some rest.
Right, and a lot of people are saying, okay, we get it, Steiny, they're older, so what are you saying? That's what I'm saying is, what I've said now for the last 2 months, that do not forget about Trace Jackson Davis, Podziemski, Moody, and Kuminga.
Yeah,
They're like, to me, they're the only chance you have, the young guys, the only chance you have. Because I look at last year and see a team that, to me, wore down. And if you look at last year, everybody played a lot. And by this time of the
they were gassed.
To me, the only hope for the Warriors is to continue to play the young guys. And you've got a great example of a game against Dallas.
Perfect.
Where
Moody gave you 20.
Steph and Clay couldn't make a shot.
And they won.
They were 10 for 32, and they won the game.
Yes, they did.
So
Moody